morning, Jon Duncan.
Good morning.
Jon, you are the Chief Impact Officer for REYL Intesa Sanpaolo. There has been a great deal going on lately about greenwashing, but actually, how would you define greenwashing?
Defining greenwashing is important. It's probably best understood by thinking about the misleading claims that a company or an asset manager may make about the sustainability attributes of their products or services. As a concept, greenwashing has definitely hit the headlines in the last couple of years, simply because I think regulators are stepping in to try and stop this kind of mis-selling or misrepresentation. What I would say is that the notion of misrepresentation is not exclusive to the green concept, and it's not exclusive to the world of finance, and it's right that regulators are stepping in. In fact, I see that regulators stepping into this topic is a sign of a good, healthy, functioning market. What's driving greenwashing? I would say there's probably three things in the finance sector. The first is that I think consumers and buyers of financial products are themselves increasingly aware of the scale of social and environmental risk out there. And I think there's latent energy and support by the average consumer to want to feel that they're a part of the fixing. Second thing is that what we've seen in the financial sector is a growing amount of sustainability, ESG type data that's being employed by various actors in various forms. And as a consequence of this lack of cohesion, there's what I would say quite a lot of wiggle room for people to sort of massage the message so that it suits the audience. And then the third point that I would say that has been driving this, over the period 2020-2021, we've seen a lot of capital flowing into the market, pursuing these sustainability objectives, and a large amount of money chasing this thematic. And I think there's been a lot of bystanders who've come into the market to say, okay, let's just dress our product up to look like a sustainable product in order to capture some of these flows. However, in the last probably 8 or 9 months, a lot of the hubris and the hot air around this topic, I think, has been sort of let out. And I think we're probably returning to a little bit more of a normalized discussion around what sustainable finance means.
So you're speaking about mis-selling. What about actually mis-buying? What investors can do to avoid this trap?
I think it's important for investors or buyers of financial products to, from a sustainability perspective, to really think carefully about their motivations. What's motivating you around the sustainability topic? Do you just want to sleep well at night, i.e. you want a fund that has, tobacco or alcohol, whatever it is? Or do you believe that sustainability risks are real and you would like to only invest in funds where the manager of that fund is deeply considering these risks in their investment process? Or do you believe that the green economy transition is underway and that you would like some exposure to that thematic? Or you may be driven by a desire to have a real world impact, and understanding those motivations is critical. However, that's not enough. You also need to be pragmatic in the context of the risk, return and liquidity parameters of your portfolio, because there are constraints there that have to be recognized.
Given the current needs for sustainable investment, what makes today private equity so relevant?
I would go beyond just private equity and say private markets in general. What I would say is that the green economy transition, i.e. a transition towards a low carbon, resource efficient and socially inclusive economy, i.e. a green economy, is going to require in the first instance lots of the large incumbents in the publicly traded markets to orientate themselves. But I think they're quite entrenched and they're facing a wall of regulation. So when you look at where the innovation and the disruption is coming, most of that is coming out of the private markets. And from that perspective, I think that's where you get direct exposure to companies who make their revenue from a product or a service that is low carbon, resource efficient and socially inclusive. So this overlap of green economy transition with private markets, I think is an interesting and important trend. The institutional investment space, I think, has historically been heavily allocated to private markets. And when I look globally, you typically see most institutional portfolios are allocated anywhere from 15 to 25% towards private markets. There's an opportunity, there's headroom in the private markets, in the private wealth environment, for greater allocations to private markets. And lots of the best opportunities that we're seeing are naturally coming from companies who make their revenue from a green economy type activity.
And that's a very interesting point. From an impact perspective, where would you see today the most attractive investment opportunities?
Electrification is a no-brainer in my mind. You know, renewable energy, battery storage, sustainable mobility, food, agriculture, circular economy, nutrient recycling, new materials, healthcare. These are all, I would say, thematics which are aligned with the green economy and impact, and I think they present good opportunities for investors. You can play those thematics in slightly different ways. Through the publicly traded markets, there are opportunities in the mid and small cap sector to access pure players. You can also play some of those themes through the green bond, green debt market. But I think the real pure opportunities exist in the private market environment. And then you've obviously got infrastructure and real estate.
Thank you, Jon. Thank you for joining us today and sharing with us your expertise. And I look forward to seeing you again pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you.